God damn. God damn shit. Welcome to the Chelsea hangover, people. God damn. Perfect. Yo, people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for the fucking reflection. It's time for the reflection. It's time for the reflection. God damn. God damn. We're going to do this together, okay? I've had my morning. I don't even drink coffee. I've had my morning coffee. What was that? What was that? God damn. God damn. Do you know what it is, yeah? I haven't even recovered from the night out that was caused by the day in, the draw. I haven't even recovered. This is therapy. This is real therapy. Discombobulated. Discombobulated. I don't ever do two reviews, guys. But today, especially with the international break upon us, I feel like I have to take this mic and drop it. We have to talk, guys. We have to talk. It's a Chelsea hangover. It's not just me. It's everybody. It's absolutely everybody. I even had to change the title because when I made it, I was pissed, very angry. Not pissed as in drunk, angry. But I want to talk about it. Because we drew against Everton. I feel like people have asked me to do player ratings before. I think now is the time to start, especially the way the thing has been going this season. The season's been going, and Potter as well. So I didn't even try and get dressed up. I thought it's time to bring out the robe. It's time to bring out the grey dressing gown. Damn right. So today is the day. Now we're going to start with the lineup. We're going to start with reflecting on everything that happened. Player ratings. We go through it as we go through the lineup. We start with Keppra and we get to Potter by the end of this. But we start with Keppra. And I want to get you guys involved as well because, like I said, this is therapy for everybody. I think it's important that we reflect. The reason why I'm doing this as well is because we don't have a fixture to save us. We have no game to save us, no response, no rebuttal. It's over. International break, 2 weeks. So this is going to sit with me for the rest of the international break, the whole of the international break, if I don't talk about it right now. I'm feeling very Hugh Wizzy right now, okay? I know it's not midnight, but I'm feeling very Hugh Wizzy. Big up Hugh Wizzy. So we're going to talk about it. Now, player ratings for Keppra. Let's start. And I'm going to run a poll for each of these because I want your opinion and we need to come to a conclusion. I'm going to tell you what I think and I want to hear what you're thinking and then we're going to make a decision. And then I'll be able to sleep at night. Okay, so Kepra's player rating. Usually there's so much structure to my stream, but not today. There's no structure to my life after that performance. I can't even enjoy my weekend. My whole weekend is ruined. I'm sure you feel the same way if you're a Chelsea fan. Rivals were ignoring you today. Not literally, but don't think that your trolling is going to affect me here. Today, I am focused on the therapy because I need it. I desperately need it. My morning, it's not morning, brother. It's afternoon now. I missed the morning. I was going to put this at 11. I said, no, there's no way I'm rising at 11. I'm moving this to the afternoon. Morning was bleak. Keppra player rating. So let's go and say no one's going to give anybody a 10, are they? So let's not even include that because nobody's getting a 10. I refuse. So we got 4 options in this poll. I'm trying to think if I split it. The max anybody really is going to get is a 7, right? Yeah, because if we put a 10, the rivals are going to troll. So the max anybody could possibly receive is surely a 7. So I'm going to just say, I'm going to just put the options here. Let's see what we can do. I just want to get a gist of what people are thinking, first of all. 1 to 2, 3 to 5, and 6 to... Let me add a 0. I'm sure maybe somebody will get a 0. Who knows? Let me not assume. 0 to 2, 3 to 5, and 6 to 8. I'm so hungover from the Chelsea. I'm just checking I haven't missed any numbers before I roll this out. All right, we're rolling it. We're rolling it. Let's see. I just want to see where this lands. Okay. Let's roll. Let's just put that out there. I just want to see what we're looking at. Super chat. Potter versus Don Carlo. It's as good as first year Harry Potter versus the headmaster. Hablas. Tablablush. I know what that says, but long words at this time in this feeling is long. Very long day. You need to give me short and sweet. I'm going to call him AD. I don't follow Harry Potter like that. Potter about to get more scars onto his head. Get rid. Okay. All right. Damn. No better way to do a Chelsea hangover than to actually be hangover or hungover. Honestly. Let's see what you guys are telling me for Keppra. We are here to have a meal. Why did this draw against Everton feel so gutting? Because it was a last-minute equaliser. That's why. A last-minute equaliser. But the funny thing is that I felt like it was coming. I mentally prepared for it, I feel. That's why I was so silent. People ask me, why was you so silent? Because I just felt like it was... I felt like I could feel it in the room, you know? Keppra. Keppra overall... I think the second goal, I think both goals. I think Keppra has had a good season, but I think Keppra is a goalkeeper that will always have some flaws. He's a goalkeeper that is not going to be strong at cross collection, and he's a goalkeeper that has limitations in the fact that no matter how well he's playing, he's always going to stress me out, and he's always going to have moments where I feel like somebody better, somebody world-class would have dealt with that situation better. It's not to say that everything is his fault. It's not to say that, you know, these goals, the first one, it's not even to say that was his fault, because you could say that everybody is at fault. It's a set piece. We don't clear it. We don't claim it. We don't do anything with it. We just allow it to come into the box. And we knew from the preview that set pieces were going to be a problem. So it's not a surprise to me that we conceded from a set piece, even with Badiashile in there. But a world-class goalkeeper who can collect his crosses comes out and collects maybe the first or the second of those headers, you know. So, but I'm never expecting Keppra to come and get that, because he can't. He literally cannot compete. He doesn't have the facilities. He doesn't have the capacity. And this is where the therapy comes in, because do you all remember a time where you were younger where Petr Cech used to come out and claim these? Petr Cech used to come out and claim these bread and milk and butter. These were the basics. This was like going to the corner shop and picking up some Haribos. You know what I'm saying? This was basic necessities. This was not anything complicated. Petr Cech claims these corners. He claims these corners. And the question I have to ask is, why have we settled in our lives for saying that there's a potential for this goalkeeper to be first choice when he cannot collect these crosses? Manchester United with David De Gea, they cannot collect those crosses. They have limitations with their goalkeeper. A goalkeeper that is expensive on wages, our goalkeeper for us that is expensive on wages, they just both happen to be Spanish. Why have we almost become content? Why have we become content with this guy who's had a good season? Is it, you know, this is where I want to get into the therapy of it. Is it the recovery? Is it the story? Is it the soon-to-be wife that has brought him back to life? You know, are we in love with the script of Keppra too much? Are we in love with the I don't know, mannerisms and the mentality, the mental fortitude it took to come back from the deep depths of probably one of the worst goalkeeping seasons we've ever had? Is that what it is? Are we in love with the story more than we're in love with ourselves? This is where it gets deep. Why are we so infatuated? Some of us, not all of us, because some of you understand. Some of you understand. But some of you, why? Why is it that every time this guy comes back, that we feel like he's the solution? Why is it now that he's back, we want to overdo it, overcook it, and say, yeah, we can really realistically continue with this guy in goal? How are we going to win a Premier League or a Champions League with Keppra in goal? I'm just being honest now. How? You know what happens on the long shots. Sometimes long shots happen. Sometimes those top corners get reached. Modric, Toni Kroos. Sometimes those crosses needs to be collected. Corner come in. Sometimes you need your goalkeeper to collect the cross, guys. Because as much as we can talk about the marking and the defending, and don't get me wrong, it was all shambolic. But everybody's got to contribute, right? And if you've been defending corners all season perfectly, at some point you're going to mess up. Even John Terry and Ricardo Carvalho at some point are going to lose their marker. Even sometimes they are going to allow somebody to get ahead of them or make a run off them and get a header on them. Nobody is going to be perfect. But this is where, as a team, as a unit, everybody's got to be pulling their weight. We cannot have dead weight on set pieces. Wide free kicks, people can put it right on top of him. Corners, people can put it right onto him. Everybody's got to be pulling their weight from set pieces. We need to defend as a unit. And he, unfortunately, is an anomaly. He is irrelevant on set pieces. He cannot come out and claim. He doesn't do it often enough. Even against Leicester, I saw him punch it out, flap it out when he could have claimed and collected. So we're going to give Keppra a rating. That's my thoughts on Keppra. He cannot be first choice next season, no matter how well he's playing, because he's simply not well-rounded enough. But I admire, the comeback, but I don't care. I don't care. It's not enough to be first choice. One of him or Mendy will have to hold that bench. Mendy caught a lot of heat. Kepa's in good form now. If you want me to talk about Mendy, I personally don't feel like there's much between them overall. I think a lot of people have been soon and quick to disrespect Mendy. However, I don't think Mendy is even good enough either, because his ball playing ability is too sketchy. His first touch when he receives the ball, when we're trying to build up, is not trust. I cannot trust. So although Mendy, from a financial standpoint, is more financially viable, or he's more, financially, it's more easing to know that the goalkeeper that is second choice is on 52k a week can only cost you 25 million pounds, in comparison to a goalkeeper that costs 70 million and is on 150k a week. I know which one is much easier to have as a second choice, but Mendy obviously potentially is going to leave anyway. Exactly. And that's why I'm not here to do revisionism on Mendy. I'm just here to say that just because Kepa's starting, it doesn't mean Mendy is now way below his level, because I feel like that is the easy thing to come to the conclusion, is that Mendy is now nowhere near Kepa, where it's just not true. If Mendy's playing at his best and Kepa's playing at his best, there's not much. I'm even inclined to say that Mendy's slightly edging it, because I don't think that Mendy's ball playing ability is that bad to the point where Kepa just leapfrogs him like that, when I know Mendy's collecting his crosses and I know Mendy's commanding his area. So I don't think that the difference is that big at all, which is not good, because it should be big considering the money spent and the money allocated to one of them, but it's not. Player rating conclusion: 47% have gone with between 3 and 5. What are we going to give it in the end? I'm going to run a quick poll now to decide. We're going to lock this in. They're going to be 3, 4, or 5, and I'm taking the first 100 votes. I'm taking the first 100 votes. As soon as I hit 100 votes, I'm locking it. Let's see what you guys think. I'm taking whatever you think is the player rating, I'm running with it. We're a group. We're going to work as a unit. I'm more than happy to go with whatever you feel. I'm just here to kind of describe it, to talk about it, to give therapy, and then we will come to a conclusion and we move. I feel like we're going to get oh shit, some people are saying 3. Damn. People are not happy today. People are not happy today. Mm-hmm. Goddamn. Goddamn. I feel like these ratings are going to be very harsh, but hey, listen, the people have spoken. We're going to end on a 3. Okay. Let's just go to the centre backs, because Everton did not have a single shot on target in the first half. It was no way, there was not a threat. But I want you to, again, take in the therapy, right? I want you to take in the therapy, because we're at home playing against Everton. This win has brought them to 15th. I don't know where they were before this, but they're still 2 points just above the relegation zone. 2 points off the relegation zone, having played 2 games more than West Ham, who are in 18th. 2 points with 2 games more played. Everton, before this match, had the lowest goals scored in the Premier League, joint with Southampton on 20. So I'm not here to gas our defense. More than you can believe, guys. Because we should not really be conceding 2 goals at home to the worst attack, joint worst attack in the league. They've scored 20 goals before this game. Now they're on 22. And the first half, they had 3 shots, none on target, 1 off target, and 2 blocked. So the defense were defending, and there was really no cause for any concern. Unfortunately, the second half, we conceded 2 goals, 1 from a set piece, and 1 where I think it's very evident that Koulibaly is going to take a lot of the blame, if not. I'm not going to say all of it, but I'm going to say he's going to take a lot of it. Definitely going to take a big, sizable portion of the blame for getting spun. Now, talk on Potter a little bit, and to bring Fofana into this. Fofana was substituted, apparently, according to the reports. I think Potter come out and said this. He was substituted because he could not finish the 90. So I saw a lot of people in comment sections, because obviously I was watching not just my comments, but I was looking at the other people's comments of reviews, because I was looking at other people's reviews. And a lot of people were asking the question, why has Fofana been substituted? If Fofana had stayed on, we would not have conceded, etc., etc. Apparently, Fofana could not do the full 90. That's what he said. Now, that kind of ties up our hands in that conversation, because if he can't do the full 90, he can't do the full 90. We don't want anybody getting injured. We know he's had injury issues. He's had some big injuries, more hits than anything. Hopefully nothing that will be, sustained over the long period. We don't want any injury-prone player of that quality, but he's had some big moments. So if someone's telling me that he can't play for the whole game, I'm not going to question him. Do you know what I'm saying? Of course not. But that's the situation on Fofana. So Trevor had to come on. I don't know what happened with Dennis Zakaria, because he's involved in our defending as well. But he wasn't on the bench. If he was on the bench, he would have been one of the people that I looked to maybe bring on, because I feel like we needed to do one of 2 things, and this is where we get onto the defense, and we start rating the defense, because I'm not just here to just completely trash what we did, because this is therapy. It's not healthy to do that. And there's 2 sides to every story. One is we conceded 2 goals we should not have conceded. Neither of them. But like I said, we knew from the preview set pieces were going to be a problem, and we didn't deal with it. Now, I was glad. I'm going to give him a bit of praise. I'm glad that he started Badiashile. That was the first tick in my thought process. When I saw the starting 11, you got the tall guy in the defense. Thank you. Now looking to the bench, Loftus-Cheek, come on. I was happy with that substitution. Fantastic. You brought some extra height into the team. And Trevor was coming on as well. I didn't think it was going to be for Fofana, because for me, this is how I see it. Either you're going to set up to defend like a Diego Simeone in the last 10 minutes and hold that 2-1, or you can keep the ball. You can try and keep possession. There's 2 ways to defend. I always say this. And this is why when people didn't really, and this is the therapy before we get into the ratings, this is why when people were very quick to not understand Jorginho's sideways passing, I was always slightly confused, because I feel like in England in particular, there's this way of defending that people associate with defending, right? Which is low block, defend, guts, determination, desire, slide tackle, hoof, boot. And it feels like keeping possession and recycling the ball and seeing the game out that way is not really respected. And at the end of the day, that is also a way of defending. And that is a way of defending that I would have liked to have potentially seen in this game. Everton are a low quality team. They are not a good footballing team in the Premier League. They don't have the capacity. If we play at the top level, if we play with the top football, with the keeping the ball, let them chase. I was looking at the last 5 minutes. Even if we could keep the ball a little bit, even if we could keep possession, knock it about. I'm not saying that we have to keep the ball for the entire last period of the game, but the more time you have the ball, the more time the opposition don't. And if the opposition do not have the ball, what does Pep say? They cannot score. This is why Pep loves possession. And I think there's a fine balance between us not having a lot of possession in a game where we're trying to win, because I understand that we want to be more direct. We want to play more vertical passes. We want to get the ball forward quicker to help the attackers, all of that. I'm here for it. Don't get me wrong. I don't want us to be this team that have 70% possession that don't do anything with it. It's boring as hell. However, when you're winning a game and Gallagher's coming on, before we get to the ratings, it feels like when you make a substitution like Gallagher, and we've been doing it, and we've been getting some results, but it's not always the time. It's not always the way to close the game. I hope that this result shows Graham Potter that there's other ways to close out football matches. You don't have to always go with the same tactic, which is Gallagher comes on, head rush, head loss, huff and puff, and run and keep losing the ball and low block and defend until the end. We can keep the ball. And this is where having some controllers and having some players like that could help you. Because if we keep the ball and we're responsible and we work it around the pitch and we show the quality that we have in the team, we could have seen out the game that way. So it's about doing things in multiple different ways and not just going with the same tactic after Leeds, because that could have backfired. Let's not lie. Could have easily conceded against Leeds, and that would have now been a problem. And Leicester, luckily enough for us, we had a switch of tactic from, because I was saying it when we was playing against Leicester. We're asking for problems here. We brought Gallagher on at halftime. Leicester started to dominate the first period of the second half. They were dominating. And I was like, are we going to do this for the whole second half? Because if we are, we're going to pay. We're going to pay for it. But we switched to the 4-3-3. And then we got the third goal. And, we didn't just do that for the whole second half. So it's just about not being so predictable and just, okay, it worked one time, let's just do it every time. So Fofana, what rating do we want to give him? I mean, actually, no. Let me start with Koulibaly. This is not meant to be easy. Let's just get Koulibaly done now. Koulibaly, I would like his rating. I want Koulibaly's rating. Let's get this out of the way. I'm going to read out his stat line in a minute, just to add that bit of context. And obviously, a lot of people are just going to remember what happened, which is he got absolutely spun. He got spun, twisted up, turned, sliced and diced by Little Sims. Big Sims, if anything. That was Big Sims. That was Big Sims. Poll's gone up. I want to start with Koulibaly because that's the most difficult one to discuss, isn't it? And I'm just about to watch the second goal again. The second goal. Yeah, it's tough to watch because, let's be real, in my opinion, we were slightly better than them. In the review, I said some bad things. I was angry. This is why I said I'm doing two. One is my therapy. The other one is my hothead. We were slightly better. We, on the balance of play, did deserve to win. I said we didn't because I was angry. Okay, I apologize. But I feel like, in a weird way, the draw is not deserving completely, but also is it weird to say that? Not that I'm glad that it happened, but I feel like you kind of were asking for it. So it's like I'm not really feeling sorry for us. That's the way I want to phrase it. I don't feel sorry for us that we drew. Even though we slightly deserve to win, I do not feel sorry for us that we drew. If that makes sense. We had more chances. We had higher XG. We know our intentions were a lot more positive than Everton, obviously, because they set up in a low block. That second goal comes from, well, let's see where it comes from. But I don't feel sorry for us because I feel like the whole second half we were asking for this. And if we had won 2-1, it would have been a little bit of a shithouse, and it would have been we're not very impressive. Not much to be too prideful about. It would have just been we just about made it over the line against a team that we should be beating comfortably. But can I ask this question? And this is before I get to Koulibaly's stat line, and this is before I even talk about. I mean, there's nothing to talk about. He got spun. Let's be real. So he shouldn't have got spun. That's an L on his part. Yeah, he got spun. He just. There's nothing more to say. Keppra got a hand to it or whatever, and we spoke about Keppra already. But this is a better question. If, and this is where it's very impossible for me to keep going without talking about Potter, because someone said I'm getting into the players, I'm not talking about Potter. I am going to get to Potter because for me, Potter is mainly to blame for this result in terms of the way he managed it and the way that he made his substitutions. But I'm not just here to talk about the substitutions because someone made a great point when I was going through, what everybody else thinks on the TL, like I usually do. We were not compact for the last few minutes. We weren't compact when the goal was scored. Why? Why were we not compact? Why were we not close? Why were the spaces so wide? Why were we looking like we got done in transition? If you don't bring on Madueke and Mudryk and attacking options that can help you on the break to give you some sort of outlet. And this is why I'm so glad I'm doing this, because in the review, I didn't even give a damn about talking about this because I was just so angry. But if you're not going to bring on a counter-attacking threat to keep Everton humble, to keep their defensive line low, to keep them in their, in their half a little bit, and you just want to go completely defensive changes, right? Which is what we did. All of the changes were defensive. Then why are we not compact? Why am I seeing in that goal that the spaces are so wide? Why am I seeing so many gaps for the second goal? It looks like as if we're trying to attack and we've been countered. Why? It doesn't make any sense. No matter what is taking place before that goal. The ball is cleared long. It bounces into Sims, goal. Why are we so open? That's what I don't get. We are a couple of minutes to the win. And this is where instructions and talking and communication, why are we so open? It doesn't really, are we still pressing from the front? It looks like it, but I don't really know what's going on because everybody's just all over the place. That is not how you defend in the last few minutes with a team that has brought on loads of defensive changes. If we were keeping possession, like I mentioned earlier, and we gave the ball away and then we got countered because we were trying to see out the game that way, it would make a lot more sense. But we weren't keeping possession because we didn't have any controllers. We didn't bring on anybody to help us keep possession. We just brought on people to defend. So why aren't we defending? That's my question. It's like we're not really doing either or properly. We're not doing either or properly. We're doing nothing really. We're not doing anything. We're just doing chaos. Carlo and Madrid are about to get arrested for beating. He's gonna give Potter. Potter about to experience the Nigerian parent beating that scars. Yeah, you're definitely here for therapy, brother. Talk to me, man. Some of us have taken licks before as well. I understand if you're still hurting. I understand. I've taken a few licks as well, bruv. All right. Not too many, but I've taken a couple. It stings. This is a real therapy session. Man, I'm here talking about what happened in their childhood. Do trying to make it off as a joke. We know you're hurting, brother. It's okay. This is a safe space. It's a safe space. If you're hurting, you're hurting. Now we've got 2 problems to talk about. It's Trev's job to support him, which he never did. Let me just reading out some of the chats. Interesting. Because it's easy to just say it's all about Koulibaly, but is it collective as well? I mean, I always want to look at everybody in that moment and see if there's anybody else involved. Or that's why I say we're not compact, which is like, if you're going to do one thing, do it to see out the game. If you're going to do another thing, do it. But we didn't do anything. We didn't do either or. People are not impressed with Trevor. Where is Trevor? It's a good question. Trevor, I don't know where Trevor is. But the thing is, I don't really know what we're trying to do as a team. This is why I ask, because Trevor looks like he's trying to move up the pitch to maybe get touch tight to someone. Is it we're trying to press as a unit to move up the pitch? I don't understand what's going on. Because it's just not making sense. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess, guys. And yeah, Trevor isn't given that cover that Koulibaly would probably want. Koulibaly has to come out to him. It's an absolute mess, guys. It's an absolute mess. It really is. Shambolic stuff. To concede a goal in that manner, it's just crazy. 3 to 5 people are telling me. Well, I guess what's going to end up happening is that Koulibaly and Trevor are both going to get in big trouble for that with their ratings. He's covering James's position. I feel like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like everybody's kind of moving. Let me see. In the end, Koulibaly got 3 to 5 as well. Damn. What time did Trevor come on? Better question. Trevor came on in the 87th minute. I don't even know if you can rate somebody that came on in the 87th minute. I feel like that's an NA. But then he was involved. So it's weird. It's very strange. 88th. Yeah. He came on so late. I wouldn't want to really usually give a rating to somebody that came on that late. But he was involved. Let me ask about... I just want to quickly actually go through Badiashile stat line: 2 clearances, 1 block shot, 2 interceptions. Only was dribbled past once. 90% accurate passing. 4 long balls completed out of 7. 3 aerial deals out of 5. 1 ground deal out of 4. Let me watch the cornerback. I'm trying to really remember, did Badiashile was he really even involved too much in this? I don't feel like I really spoke about him too much when I was watching the game. We conceded 2 goals from 3 shots on target. So outside of the goals, it's tough for me to criticize the defense too much. Unfortunately, it's just weird because we conceded 2 goals. Usually you'd be onto the defense. I'm trying to see if Badiashile was involved in this corner. Koulibaly and Fofana don't get the header from the first, which I think is Tchaikovsky. And then Doucouré just runs off. Who's meant to be marking Doucouré? Does anybody know who's meant to be marking Doucouré? Kai Havertz tries to clear off the line. Fofana and Koulibaly got up for that header. They don't win it. 2v1, by the way. They don't win that header versus Tchaikovsky, which is nuts. Which means, again, they're late to him. Now, I'm assuming that one of them is meant to be actually marking him, because I'm hoping that we're doing some sort of man marking here. Looks like we're trying to on this goal. But why is Decore running off? Who is he running off? I'm not sure who's meant to be marking him. If you look at how deep Keppra is, I mean, it's just Keppra is Keppra has no chance, man. He's just, you know what it is when you look at him. He's so small in comparison to everybody in the box. It's not good. He's just so small, just flapping and floundering. He's just, like I said, irrelevant in defending set pieces, unless he has to make an actual save. But he's not coming out and getting involved in these 50-50s. Both are on Keppra for you. Honestly, the issue is partly mental too. Like what we saw from Cucurella against Dortmund, the passion, the intensity in pressing. We were lacking that yesterday. These men need to switch on. Is it mentality, guys, or is it tactical? That's a good poll to run. And I'd like to get the percentage. Because we know in the Premier League, as much as we think we're still playing for things, are they still thinking they're playing for things? I don't know. Admin yesterday tweeted that, you know, there's still more to play for. I said, not looking like it in the league. So you must be talking about the Champions League. But you're tweeting about the Premier League. What's it down to? Obviously, it's down to a bit of both. I want to get percentages, so it's always good to ask the question and see like where people sway on it. Mentality or tactical? Are we switching off? Are we complacent? Or is it tactical? Especially, I mean, this is in regards to yesterday mainly, but if you want to take it as in general for what we've been going through, I don't know. But I'm looking at this more yesterday. Is yesterday more down to tactics or is it down to mentality? I'm just interested to see the whatever comes to your mind first as the reason to kind of blame for the result is what I want you to vote for. You know, do you think it's more on the way we set up and the way that we approached it tactically in terms of the approach, or is it more about the mental side of it and not seeing out the game mentally? Because there are some individual errors. So that's why it's actually, I think, quite a good question. Because it's not just about the way we set up. There were some individual errors. Obviously, people will say it's both. But I just want to see what people would vote for if I had to ask the question. Definitely both are to blame, for sure. Badia Shaw, Fofana, and Trevor. I feel like Reese James and Chilwell, we have to talk about them next. It's an interesting one because we know that this defense relies, well, we know that this team in this formation under Tuchel and under Potter, I assume. Hey, at least you're going to win the Champions League. Thank you. Oh, God. Jesus. People thought I was positive after the draw. I didn't mean to be. People thought I was positive. I was just trying to say that our record against Real Madrid in our history is positive. What makes me worried is the fact that the manager has never come up against Real Madrid in his life. So, you know, that's why I'm not putting us as... I don't even think I'd have us as favourites regardless because it's Real Madrid. But that's why I'm not confident. But just... that's why I said it's the worst draw possible, because if you look at the overall draw, which you have to, what we have in the semi-finals, if we were to get through, is a madness. If we were to get through that, that's probably the biggest shock I would have as a Chelsea fan to date. If we were to get through all of that. Missing a world-class goalkeeper, says C. You know, if we were to get through all of that with this manager, I'd be surprised. It's not even to disrespect him. It's just to be blunt. He's never managed in the Champions League before. He hasn't got a good record for us against top 6 opposition in the league. So that tells me that when you're coming up against the creme de la creme in Real Madrid, biggest club in the world, one of the greatest managers of all time, I shouldn't really be confident in your ability to manage that game, because it's going to be a very tactical game. If you remember our performances against Real Madrid when we beat them under Tuchel, not the one where we lost, but the one where we actually went through, it was very tactical. It was a tactical masterclass. It really was. And this is why I said Kante is crucial, because he can help managers from a tactical standpoint, because when he's at his best, he covers for 2 people. So he can kind of negate any tactical flaws in certain areas. But anyway, miss having a world-class goalkeeper. I miss it too. So James and Chilwell, I feel like we've got to put them together because they both have the same job. All I asked for yesterday was to get to 40 points. How good is Potter's number 2? I don't know Bruno like that. He came over with him from Brighton. And, I'm not sure about how good Bruno is, to be honest. I have no idea. I mean, the manager's the manager. We very rarely look deeply into somebody's number 2 and will, one, know a lot about what they do, what their responsibilities are, how good they are, etc. So I'm never going to be able to comment on a number 2 because the final decisions are held and dealt with by the number 1, and that is Potter. No matter what the number 2 whispers in your ear, I'm not going to start this Pep Linders thing where we start blaming the number 2. At the end of the day, the number 1 is responsible. Unless you're Liverpool. So let's see. We're going to get to that. James and Chilwell. How do we feel James and Chilwell did? They both have the same job. The poll actually ended on a 50-50 after 200 votes. That's pretty impressive. 200 plus votes. James and Chilwell. Ask. Because if we're to do anything, I don't even know what that even means anymore. Like, what can we even do, like, realistically? My hope was, win this game. We make a charge for top 6. We get Europa League football. I feel like that's still attainable, but my confidence took a hit. James and Chilwell. Impressive. Or nah. Let me see. Actually, let me stick with the ratings. And I want to put them together because I feel like they both had very similar games. Very, very similar games. Also because we've got to get through all the players. You feel Chilwell was better than Reese? Okay, do you know what? That's a better question. That's a fantastic. Thank you. You have helped me massively because you have just made this a lot easier for me. Who was better, Chilwell or Reese? Question. So we can distinguish, first of all, what's going on here. Both have the same job. The great thing about those two is that they're both equally as important going forward as they are going back. There's no lopsidedness. There's nobody that gets more free range to go forward and doesn't have to come back. At least in the way I see it, because Rhys James is so good going forward at his best that I can't say that I'd prefer Chilwell to get forward and Rhys to hang back or the other way around, because that balance is, them going forward as a unit is actually critical to our balance, Otherwise we become very one-sided. We did try to play a lot more vertical passes. This is where I'll talk about that entire line, Cover and Enzo. But yeah, I feel like Reese James and Chilwell's performance is in relation to how the midfielders in their play, whether or not they can switch the play and whether or not they can see the space that they're occupying. Because the whole point of these wing backs, and this is what Conte had us doing when we won the title, is that when you've got these wing backs, they're meant to give you an extra outlet in possession, and they're meant to give you almost a sneaky threat for a goal scoring opportunity. If you're doing your build-up play and your work down one side, the thought is that you've got this ghost basically on the other side that's hovering. And Marcos Alonso used to be brilliant at it, to be fair to him. That's just where he got his goals. He didn't get his goals because he maneuvered in tight spaces, dribbled past a couple of players and scored. He got his goals because we worked our way down the right. We switched it over to the left and he was wide open because everybody had come across, especially when up against a back four. Everybody comes across. They leave him spare because he's that fifth attacker that kind of just goes unnoticed, and he's hanging at the back post, and then he gets his finish or he gets his header. But to do that, you have to actually have the ability to get the ball over there. And I think partly why I will feel we didn't really fully maximize these guys is because Cover could not switch to play in the first half. We definitely switched to Chilwell more than Reese, I agree. But the crossing was not great, I have to say. In the first half, I felt the crossing improved. I think the crossing improved from what I remember saying. But the crossing was, I think Reese put in a couple that were very dodge. And we can get let me get the statistics. The reason why I don't like crossing statistics and I refrain from going to them when I go and look at, say, Chilwell and I want to see how many crosses he completed. I feel like crosses completed is a completely pointless almost stat, right? And I'll explain why. 5 crosses completed out of 13 for Chilwell, and 3 crosses completed for Reese out of 9. I feel like crosses completed is almost a complete pointless stat because you don't have to complete the cross for it to be a good cross. I've seen Reese whip that ball in many a time and it's not completed, but it's a brilliant cross. It's a fantastic cross right across the face of the goal. And it's into a great area and nobody's on the end of it, or somebody's on the cusp of getting on the end of it and they don't get to it. Especially Rhys James. He's been robbed of many assists over the years because of a great cross that wasn't connected with. And a completed cross is, did you cross to someone? Did they get on the end of it? That takes 2 to tango. That person needs to be awake. That person needs to not be static. That person needs to make the run. That person needs to get on the end of it. And that's not something we're good at in previous years. So I don't like completed crosses. But no, this is therapy. We're not okay. Wait, was that from, let me see, was that from the last game? Yeah, it was. So for me, I don't like completed crosses, but the crossing wasn't at the highest level for me from the beginning. I remember Chilwell and Reese kind of butchering a few crosses, but Cover tried to switch play a few times Cover tried to switch play a few times to Chilwell, who was wide open and failed massively failed. And what's weird is that when you see Enzo do it 5 minutes before, it really does kind of hit you even harder. There was a switch of play. And I feel like because they're all in this line, I'm not going to lie, I have to talk about all of them together in this therapy. But I feel like because I've seen Enzo switch to play with such ease and he's so comfortable. And if you go and look at Enzo's passing stats, they're fantastic. Every single game, this guy's got the most touches or the most accurate passes, the most progressive passes into the final third, the most switches, the most everything. This guy is just incredible at passing. Such a good passer. He switches the play so easily. He does it so quickly. And it allows us to take advantage of the wing backs because they're in space, get it to them, and then we go. But when Cover tried to switch play, he couldn't do it. Could not do it. And one time he tried to switch it and it went out for, well, it didn't go out for a goal kick, but it went to the Everton defensive line. And, it was nowhere near Chilwell, nowhere near. And they got possession back and it happened 5 minutes. Literally, there was a period of 5 minutes between the 2 passes and they were the same pass. Both going to Chilwell, both switching the play, both trying to hit that wing back quickly. So when I'm looking at the wing-back's performance, I've got to take into account how much did we really take advantage of the space they were in? Did we utilize them? Did we utilize them properly? Because if you're not gonna get the ball to them, it's not gonna work, is it? They're not gonna be as effective. So that comes into my thinking. That definitely comes into my thinking. Reese James, 3 dribbles out of 3 completed. 2 key passes. I feel like Reese James's influence went up in the, let's say, second half. I feel like I saw more of him. It's a bit of a blur between one half and the next. 4 key passes for Chilwell. 2 out of 2 dribbles completed. I feel like you kind of have to remember the crosses instead of just looking at the stat. But ground duels for Chilwell was strong. 4 out of 6 and 3 out of 4 aerial duels as well. So Chilwell, I felt like Chilwell had a strong game. And I felt like Reese didn't have a poor game, but I definitely feel like Chilwell was more involved than Reese. But that's not Reese's fault. I don't think, I just think that's how it happened. We just ended up having more space on the left-hand side. I definitely felt like a lot of the time there was more space on the left than there was on the right. Don't know why. Just felt like that. Weird. Can't really explain it. Let me know if you agree. Just felt like we had more space down the left to operate. I don't know who was on the left. Let me see. For Everton, it was Iwobi and Coleman versus the left, which was McNeil and Godfrey. I don't know why it just panned out that way. It just felt like there was more space on the left. That's just how it felt. Maybe that's because Felix tucked in. I don't know. Pulisic and Felix kind of almost were sharing this responsibility of trying to be up front. Neither of them really doing it well. It was weird. Let's see what you guys are telling me. Let's see. Who remembers Enzo skill? Yeah, great piece of skill. There was a big moment where Reese James would have potentially had the game-winning moment, but he wasn't passed to by Felix. He wasn't passed to. And that could have been a big moment for Reese, because I've seen Reese put the ball in the back of the net many a time in that position, and Felix didn't pass to him, and he should have. He should have passed to him. He took a shot instead. It was straight at the goalkeeper. A lot of people are saying Chilwell was better in the poll. Ended up on 60% for Chilwell. I feel like Chilwell was definitely more involved throughout the majority of the game. And obviously those defensive duels sound really good as well. Definitely didn't have a problem with him at any point. I don't see him on, he's nowhere near either of these goals. Definitely not involved in the second goal. And the first goal, let's take a look. I don't think he's culpable, is he? Set piece. Where is he on the set piece for the first goal? Don't even know. It's just a mess. Let's take a look. Such a mess. Yeah, he's not involved. It's not his problem. It's not his problem. He's marking his guy. But that angle is perfect for Reese. At least he shot on goal, so can't be too upset. Yeah, listen, that is obviously hindsight analysis, for sure. Because if he scores, it's great. If he doesn't, it's like, why didn't you pass to Reese? But I was as the ball was being played to him, I was kind of screaming, please pass to Reese, because it's just the next step. The move was almost complete. We worked it beautifully. Reese was now, because like we just said, the wing backs are the ghosts. So this is where Reese is now ghosting in. And this is the last pass, right? Where we finally complete the move, because we've created this overload on the left. We've shifted it over to the right. And then it's now the final touch, the final moment. Reese James is going to put this in, and we're going to score, and we're going to take advantage of our wing back. And he didn't pass. And it was almost like, I feel like everybody else in the team would have made the pass, because they know Reese James, and they just know how they're used to playing that formation. They're used to Reese James being that last guy, and they've seen the goals for him against Newcastle and the goals against Arsenal, and they just know that Reese James, the goal against what was the Champions League goal that he scored? Not Ajax. There was another Champions League goal that he scored. That was really, really, and it brought out this mad celebration. I can't remember. But I feel like the team just know Reese James is one of the best shooters in the team. And they just go and give it to him because it's just natural. It's just natural to give that ball over. Juventus, was it? Yeah, I think it was Juventus. It would have just been natural to just lay it off to him, and then his strike, roof of the net, across the goalkeeper, whatever you want. This guy can finish. This guy can really, really finish. When he was younger, going through the academy, he used to play as a striker. He said this. I think he's already said this on record. So even though he's a right back or a right wing back or right side centre back in a 3, he's played midfield for Wigan. This guy used to play as a striker. So you can see it in his shooting technique. Even from his first goal that he ever scored for Chelsea, he whipped it. He curled it into the far corner. I think it was a cup game at Stamford Bridge. The guy can shoot. So I just feel like it was the next best thing to just go and lay that off to him and let him connect. Don't even let him have to take a touch, by the way. Roll it into him nicely and he'll do the rest. And I genuinely believe if that pass happens, he definitely scores. So that's why it annoyed me, because I've seen that carbon copy, that moment played for Rhys James time and time again. I've seen him make that decision and play. That plays happen many a time, because that's what we do with the wing backs. We get them into the box. And some of our wing backs are 2 of our best shooters, funnily enough. Our wing backs are 2 of our best shooters. Chilwell can connect with it nicely. Rhys James connects with it nicely. There's not many people in the team that have better shooting technique than them, which is mad, but it's facts. It's facts. So that's why it was annoying. So we've actually kind of naturally just spoken about Enzo and Cover. I feel like, was there anything, let me ask the chat, was there any, before we get to Cover, because I feel like everybody was pretty disappointed in Cover's performance overall. And we're going to talk about Cover. Was there anything disappointing in Enzo's performance? This is a therapy. It's a safe space. As much as I'm a massive Enzo fan, I am a massive Enzo fan, and I'm so glad he's here. I'm just asking if there was anything in his game yesterday that annoyed you, or anything you felt he could have done better. Anything that you want to talk about, get off your chest. Because a lot of people are saying this guy is world class. And I agree. I think he's going to be top for us. I think he's going to be top tier, man. I really do. I think Enzo is going to be quality. I think we're only scratching the surface of what Enzo could become. I think if you put Enzo and partner Enzo with the right person who could potentially, balance out defensively what he can't give you from a individual standpoint, he's always going to try and contribute. He's always going to try and contribute defensively. He's not lazy, but he's not a defensive midfielder. 6 out of 9 ground duels. 1 didn't have to go up aerially at any point. So nothing there. What I love about Enzo, and I spoke about it when he joined, this guy, he's not a dribbler. 0 dribble attempts. This guy, that's his stat, 0 dribble attempts. 10 out of 13 long balls completed. The guy loves to just switch play. Not even switch play. He just loves to look up and see what's going on around him. Or, really before he gets the ball, knows what's going on around him. And try to play the ball forward and try to create. And I'm so glad that we've got that balance now, because what we usually do and what we've usually done with Kante and with Cover and with Ruben, and I'll probably stop there. Even you could say Mason Mount as well. These guys want to carry it. They want to take the ball from A to B by themselves. They want to take the ball from A to B by themselves, or they'll play a little 1-2, but they want to carry the ball. They don't want to, Mount should want to, because that's what he was meant to be doing, really. That's what he used to do anyway. But, that kind of dried up. But progress the ball. Actually move that ball with your vision, and move the ball with your awareness, and know what's around you, and progress that ball, because the ball travels faster than you. The ball will travel faster than you. Granted, you put the pace on it. So he is not interested in dribbling. He's not interested in carrying the ball. And it's great, because we finally have a bit of balance now, because everybody used to just get the ball and want to just carry it or play 1-2s and then just run. And then when we get to the final third, by the way, the pass is overcooked, undercooked, and not what it should be. He is not like that. He wants to pass. He wants to find people. He wants to pick his head up and progress it and actually see what forward runs are being made. And this is why the PTSD with the striker situation is kind of coming down for me. I'm starting to become a lot more calm. I'm starting to become a lot more accepting of a striker, because now if a striker is making runs and they're good runs and Enzo's on the ball, Enzo is going to play it. Enzo is actually going to play it. So it's fantastic. Let me go through some comments. I loved his defensive work yesterday. Makes great tackles, sometimes aggressive, more most times timed. Some people on Twitter were saying like he just needed to cut a little bit of weight as well. I don't know. When he came in, like it felt like he needed to slim down a little bit. I don't know. Maybe his bulkier nature helps him. Sometimes if you slim a player down like that, it kind of ruins what they can bring to duels. That was just conversation going on in little parts of Twitter as to why they felt before he was getting ripped defensively in certain moments in a couple of weeks back or a month back. But I don't know. Second and third phase, he's amazing. First phase can improve. I agree. I think first phase he can definitely improve. I'd say the one thing with him is that first phase, he's not like Cover. Cover is happy to receive the ball with 2-3 people around him and dribble out of it. Enzo doesn't dribble too much and he's not that quick. So Enzo is going to just need to pass his way out of it, which is what Jorginho did. But you can see that Jorginho was trained and made and molded for that position in the first phase. He loves it. He receives the ball off people. He knows what's next. And it's just like, that's just where he lives. That's his house. That's not Enzo's house. You can see it's not Enzo's house. So we definitely need to improve in the first phase. And that's why whatever DM we acquire, they're going to be deeper than Enzo. And the team is actually not going to be backwards. I've always said the midfield has been built backwards in a way, because the guy that we look to for chance creation is the deepest midfielder in Jorginho. And the guy that does the defensive work is actually higher up the pitch in Kante. And it's like, shouldn't it be the other way around? Do you know what I mean? And there's, he does the first phase great, which makes sense. But it's just a bit backwards. And now we're finally probably going to have a situation where the guy that is deepest is the better defender. It needs to be like that, a better defender than Enzo, even though Enzo will help. He's good in the first, he's great in the first phase, and he's good at defending. He's good at tackles and interceptions. And then the more creative player and the more, the player that can split a defense and that we look to for creativity is higher up the pitch, which is how it should be, in my opinion, because they're the one closer to goal for just going back to basics. I can't give you my lineup for a Real Madrid game because that is in April. And it's March. Anything could happen. I never give lineups this early because anybody could get injured. No point. No point. You look like you have a mid-table hangover. What about Cover? Let me ask a question on Cover. I know it's ratings, but I also want to ask a question. I feel like this question is more important. This is a question I have to ask because I rate Cover, right? I really do. Everybody knows that, really. I really do rate Cover. Cover's like always splitting opinions anyway. 1 minute, people are like, oh, now we see the quality. And the next minute, people are like, probably should get rid of him. Would you keep Cover? Would you guys keep Cover? There's been rumors that he could be signing a new contract. He's captain at the moment. Would you keep Cover? That's my question. Would you keep Kovacic? The reason why it's a difficult question, and the reason why I'm asking it is because he's been linked with moves to Man City. He's a very, 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 very good player. Very, very good player. Never gonna allow anybody to tell me otherwise. He's a very, very good player. But he is susceptible to injuries. So it's a weird one. Because I feel like we all know that we need to find, even with Kante, same thing. as much as everybody loves Kante and Kante is a quality player when he's starting, we all know that we need to have a starting midfield next season. Even if it's a 2, if it's a 2, and if we stay with this formation and we go over 3-4-3, we all know we need to have a starting midfield that does not include, and listen to me, that does not include cover and does not include Kante. And the reason why I say that is because we need to prepare for the inevitable, which is at some point next season, they will be injured. So for me, the way I see dealing with these issues is that you need to have a starting midfield that doesn't include these 2 players. So you know what you're working with. You know what the plan is. Because if you use one of them in your starting 11 for next season and they get injured, then you're going into your backup. You're going into your bag to dig and to see whether or not we can. And we're doing the same thing we always do, which is, right, our injury-prone players are injured. Now we dip into our bag of depth. They're not as good. We're not as good. They're not as good. Now we are not as good. We know they're going to get injured. So let's just forget that. They will become the bag, the depth bag, where we use them when we can and we look after them, we rotate them, whatever. And let's actually now bring in the starter that we know is going to be available. So we have a midfield that we can trust. That's how I see it. Because the longer we keep making ideal 11s with these 2 in it for them to go and pick up an injury, you're just shooting yourself in the foot every single season because now you're at a deficit once again. So I'm just going to treat them like they're already injured and go and get a midfielder that plays next to Enzo, and that's your starting midfield. And then these guys are just bonuses. Treat them as bonuses. If they're here next season, which it looks like that one of them will be, it looks like Kante is going to sign. I don't know about Cover. Seems like Cover's going to get a new contract as well. Treat them as bonuses. That's how I see it. Because availability is your best ability. Facts. If you're not available, as ruthless as it sounds, you're of no use to us. Literally, while you're not playing, we can't use you. You cannot help the team. If you're not fit, you cannot help the team. It's impossible. Now you can do the intangibles off the pitch, but in terms of directly impacting results, you can do nothing. Literally nothing. So you do need to be available. We badly need the top players to be available, but we know these guys are injury prone now, or they're susceptible to injury. So there's no point even flirting with the idea next season that they're going to stay fit. I'm not even going to entertain it. I'm just going to assume that they're injured right now. Go into the transfer window. Even if you're keeping these guys, go into the transfer window like they're injured. Go into the transfer window like they're injured for 2 months on average. Just say that's kind of like on average what they're probably out for a season minimum. I mean, Kante's been out for the whole season. Just say that they're injured. Go into the market like they're injured. Treat the market like they're injured. It's what we should have done years ago, but we didn't do it. We always assumed they were going to be fit. Okay. Let me see what the poll's saying. People are saying Amrabat. 60% say keep, 40% say so people say 60% say yes to keeping him, 40% say to no. Okay, cool. That's cool. I just wanted to know where everybody was at. It's good to ask these questions. Okay, so his performance, everybody's established that Enzo was great, so there's no need to talk about Enzo. Let me see it. Did we go through Cover's stat line? We've kind of spoken about Cover. 3 out of 7 ground deals, 1 aerial deal out of 1. No successful dribbles. Only 1 attempt. So that speaks volumes. Let's talk about that. That speaks volumes. Before we move on to the attackers and the final third and finalizing this stream, that speaks volumes, doesn't it? And this is why the intentions were pure. The intentions from Chelsea in this game were pure. And this is why I wanted to change my title, right, from saying it was a piss poor performance, which I made that title in a nightclub at 2 a.m. I ain't gonna lie. Yesterday, if you was on my Instagram story, you would have seen that I was out and I was like, oh yeah, I'm doing a stream tomorrow. I need to set up. And I was like, piss poor. Because also I like there was Potter and Patience, and I was like, yo, PPPP, and it was all sounding slick. So I was like, yeah, piss poor. But to be fair, it wasn't all piss poor. It wasn't great, but it wasn't piss poor. I've seen worse. The intentions were there. There was many times we tried to funnel the ball into in between the lines and get the ball into Felix in dangerous areas and get the ball into Kai Havertz in dangerous areas. Now, it didn't materialize to enough. I'm not doing the watch along, by the way. I'm not doing the watch along, mainly because I've got to do the Grand Prix and I'm going studio for that. And I was going to do the Arsenal game at DR, but it's not televised. So then there would have been an issue about watching the game in a like clear, crystal clear fashion. Because obviously AFTV, they sorted their situation. So I was just like, you know what? I'm just not even going to risk it because I don't want to be watching the game on a dodgy stream and then, it doesn't flow and all this. So it's just not worth the hassle. But yeah, going back to what I was saying. We had the right intentions. I don't feel like Chelsea went out there to be safe. We definitely weren't safe in possession. It's kind of something I kind of complained about towards the end of the game. But during the game, I don't feel like we were safe. We were definitely trying to move the ball forward. If Cover's not trying to dribble, that tells me that Cover's releasing the ball quickly. He's not just going to just hold on to the ball and do nothing, right? So if he's not completing dribbles like he usually does, and he's not trying to carry the ball, he's trying to play passes. 59 accurate passes, 90% of those, 3 key passes, 2 out of 6 long balls. So the long balls, like we mentioned, they weren't good, right? The long balls were not good. He did not switch play very well, but he tried. He wanted to. He wanted to move the ball forward, but he struggled. So it was all about release. Get the ball forward. But no matter how accurate it is, no matter how many attacks broke down, the intention was to move the ball quickly and get it forward. But he struggled. He struggled massively. Now, El Clasico, yeah. I mean, by the time the race finishes, I'm probably not going to get back in time to do El Clasico. So unfortunately, it's looking like it's going to be. The thing is with Grand Prix is that you don't know when they're going to end because you can't structure anything after it too soon. Because if there's a red flag or the race is suspended, what now? You know what I'm saying? You have to wait there for it to restart. It's not like football where you just know it's 90 minutes. So I'm not doing the El Clasico, sadly. Frankie de Jong next to Enzo would be a disaster. It's not balanced. I'll say that. If you're going to make a midfield free with a defensive midfielder sitting, I think it's brilliant. If you play both of them in front of a back three, it's not ideal. It's not ideal. Not for me. I think what is ideal is Frankie de Jong next to Casemiro. That's a great midfield partnership. Brilliant. Enzo Fernandes next to Casemiro. Another great midfield partnership. Enzo Fernandes next to Rodri. Another great. I just want balance. I'm not trying to do anything. I'm not trying to do anything magical here. I just want balance. It makes sense to me. Hiddink has 35 points in 22 games. Potter has 28 points in 21 games. By Potter, Potter shall be given too much. I don't know. Too much logic. Hiddink should have given new contract. Oh, by logic, Hiddink should have got a new contract. Okay. Well, we know statistically he's what, the worst. So yeah, we already know he's statistically horrendous. That's not new information. Even if he had won this game, he statistically would have been horrendous. So nothing changes. Right. Let me add some sort of moisture to my face. I feel like when you've had a stressful day yesterday with a terrible result, and then you go out as well, your face just feels very malnourished. I feel very I feel like I've no vitamins in my face. I feel like I'm on my last legs. Okay, let's go to the forwards and let's go to the substitutions and let's talk about Potter before we wrap up. In my review, I tried to stay clear of hindsight analysis. Now, I probably have done that many a time. Obviously, everybody has, right? It's very easy to do that. But in that particular moment, I wanted to stay clear of it because I knew I was angry. It's very easy. You can shoot me down immediately if you disagree. But it's very easy to make this all about not bringing on Madueke and Mudryk. Right? It's very easy. Part of me feels like that's not what I'm annoyed about, because you can bring on Madueke and Mudryk, and don't get me wrong, that would have been great to see at least one of them, particularly Mudryk, because, you know, just to get him some minutes. Because, and the reason why I say it, right, is not because I'm expecting anything from him defensively. It's not a defensive change to bring on Mudryk, but it is like I said, there's different ways to defend, and there's different ways to let the opposition think about the way they attack. This is a lot. So let me break it down. If you're gonna go into defensive mode, you do need to bring on defenders. I get it, but you also need to bring on somebody that makes the opposition respect you on the other side of the pitch, and that is what Mudryk does. Mudryk and Madueke, and this is why people will be angry. Mudryk and Madueke make the opposition respect you enough to not throw too many people forward, because the counter-attack is devastating, potentially. The counter-attack is potentially devastating. There is a lot of counter-attacks that could come from these two quick players. So that's something that people are annoyed about, because they feel like if you're going to sit deep, at least give us something on the break and at least make Everton respect us, you know, to a degree. But we didn't bring these guys on. Now, I'm not annoyed. I said it earlier. I'm not even really annoyed about those two in particular, because we've closed out games without them. So I can understand that he thinks that, once again, we're going to close this game out by not bringing them on. My problem is the way we tried to close the game out. Like I said earlier, we didn't get super defensive and sit in this toxic Diego Simeone low block with our... You know, I wanted him to do one of two things. Keep possession, or sit in the dirtiest low block you've ever seen, right? And have 4 centre-backs across. Trevor, Fofana, Koulibaly, Badiashile, all of them lined up. And Chilwell and Reese. If you're going to do it for the last 5 minutes, do it properly. Do it toxically. Do it disgustingly. Bruv, every single... If Zakaria was on the bench, bring him on as well. Because it's just, you know, if you're going to do it right. And make sure it's compact. And make sure there's no gaps and there's no space, and suffocate them. Right? If you're going to do it, then cool. Bring on... Obviously, Zakaria wasn't on the bench. But make it, you know, do it dirt. Do it dirt. Or keep the ball. But we didn't do either. So that was that was what annoyed me the most. What particular substitution do people want to change if they go back in time? That's the best way to talk about this, because I was fine with the Loftus-Cheek cover substitution, if I'm being completely honest. Now that I've heard the post-match quotes about Fofana, I can't complain about that. So Trevor comes on for Fofana. I can't complain about that. Pulisic came off first, right? I think it was Pulisic that came off. Pulisic came off. And let me actually, because I've actually got the information here, so I don't know why I'm trying to guess. Pulisic came off in the... Let me see. Yeah, Pulisic came off in the 62nd minute. This is the substitution that everybody's angry about, right? Am I correct in saying that? Because Felix didn't come off until the 86th minute. We didn't even make all of our substitutions. We made 4. We had 1 substitution left. We didn't make all of our substitutions. Is that what people are angry about as well? I mean, Mudryk doesn't come on. We got a substitution left. Madueke, we got a substitution. He just didn't feel like he needed to make all the substitutions. I didn't really see a need for Cucurella to come on, unless you're taking off Chilwell, because I don't want to make our defense smaller. So I have no problem with that. Didn't really feel this. I didn't think this was a Cucurella game. But he only made 4 subs. So people are angry with the Pulisic sub. That was on 60... Because this is therapy. This is not a rant, really. This is not really here to just slander and cuss. This is a therapy session. So I'm just trying to work out what we should have done in people's eyes. Because I agree. I think he got it wrong. I think Potter went with the same mentality or the same logic he's used in previous games, and it backfired. And I do believe that the way that he has been doing it recently, like I said earlier, is going to come and bite you at some point. Bringing on Gallagher as your John Obi Mikel at some point is going to bite you. As much as people on Twitter wanted to put Gallagher and Mikel's names next to each other and say, oh, this is the new Jose Mourinho way of closing out games, it is not. It is not. And I know people are not comparing the players, but to even try and pretend like this is a viable thing that we can do at the Santiago Bernabeu, or if we could do it at Stamford Bridge, if we're holding a lead against Real Madrid, is absolutely moronic. Moronic. It makes me sick to my stomach. If you truly believe that Gallagher coming on consistently is going to close games out for Chelsea. It is horrendous thought process. It is disgusting. It is being a prisoner of the moment. And it's why I just admitted on my reviews, I didn't really want him to do that, but he did it and it worked. Cool. Fair play. You're doing what you feel like you need to do to get results. But I never liked seeing Gallagher come on that early. I never liked seeing him come on in that fashion to close out a game too often, because I don't feel like it's sustainable. And I've said it before. The player is not going to help you keep possession in that manner. And he's not going to help you control. So it is going to be a situation where we're, more giving the ball away and we're trying to cover ground and we're trying to... That's the type of player that he is. He's not the type of player that comes on and gets things ticking and keeps the ball. He doesn't help you defend in that fashion. He comes on because you want him to cover ground and you want him to give an extra number in midfield. And I have no problem with going and getting an extra number in midfield, because I understand that at times with Cover and Enzo, you are going to be maybe overwhelmed and overloaded, and you do need an extra body in there. So that's not a problem. I think in the future, if Zakaria was available, maybe that could be an option as well, because maybe he could come on and sit behind those two and actually be positionally what Mikel was, not quality-wise. But the thing is that irked me about this comparison is that Mikel was a very, very good footballer. He did get his heat. He caught his heat. Don't worry. He definitely caught his smoke. I remember back in the day, Mikel used to catch his smoke from the fan base at times, because he was sometimes a little bit annoying in certain moments. I'm not going to pretend like his whole career at Chelsea, he didn't make any errors and he wasn't, a little bit. But he was able to sit in front of a defense, off the ball, and mop up, and on the ball. If you need him to keep it simple and keep possession, he will do that. This substitution doesn't scream we're going to keep possession, which is one of the ways of defending the lead. It screams we're going to cover ground, we're going to get bodies in, and we're going to almost defend in a very lower half of the league fashion. We're going to do this like Bournemouth. We're going to do this like, Leicester. We're going to defend this lead like a team that don't have any authority on the pitch, that can't control this and see this out. That's how it smells. It smells like a team that are in a relegation fight. That is the type of way we're trying to see games out. The way we see the way that the Leeds game went, and the way we tried to see the game out against Leeds was a relegation battle result. Make no mistake, the win against Leeds was a relegation battle result. Right? The way we try to see that out is how relegation teams try and see out games. But that's because we're at the deep depths of despair and we are literally on the cusp of a manager sacking, right? That's why he's decided to go all needs must. Everything on the counter, everything on the table, you must get this win. So it's the safe option. Someone said it's cowardly, right? And it's like, I have to protect my job, so I'm just going to do the most... it's the most negative thing at the time to do, because some of you guys, and I agree, at times, I feel like we can get an extra goal. And against Leicester, same situation. We bring on Gallagher at halftime. I'm like, no way are we going to defend for the rest of the game. Surely not, because we're asking for trouble. Luckily, he takes the decision to go back to the 4-3-3 and we get the third goal. We can get another goal. When we take the lead or we're defending a lead, there's no rule out there that says we can't get another goal. Now, understandably so, we're not the best shooters and our conversion rate probably stinks. So I understand that the lack of confidence he has the lack of confidence in this team finishing off the game. So that's why he might get also overly protective of a lead, because he doesn't believe in us to get the third goal. And many managers have done that or thought that, I'm sure, at Chelsea in the last couple of years, because we are, even if you set us up to create chances, we can't finish. So you could potentially be playing into your own problem because you're trying to get the third goal. That's not there because this team can't shoot. Cool, I get it. But there's different ways to defend a lead. There's different ways to defend the lead. And the way we try to defend it is like a relegation-stricken team or a team in the bottom 5. That's the way I see it. So it's not sustainable. Who did people want to bring on? So Pulisic came off in the 62nd minute. First of all, was that the right sub? Should it have been Pulisic coming off or should it have been someone else coming off? Is that okay? Now, what minute was that? This is where we're going to round off, okay? It's the last part of the stream. He came off in the 62nd minute. I really want to get to the bottom of this. 62nd minute. Were you happy with Pulisic coming off or no? I just want a quick response on this poll before I get to the next question, because I'm intrigued. I just want to know whether you guys even wanted Pulisic to come off. First of all, we start with that. With the game that Pulisic was having up until that point, did you want him to come off? And if the answer is yes, then we can move. That's all good. We move to the next question. If you didn't want Pulisic to come off, then that's a whole different thing, obviously. I just want to know if people even wanted Pulisic to come off in the first place. All right. That should be enough time. I'm making these polls super, super quick. How many votes we got? Nearly 100. Let's get 100 votes and then... Let's get 100 votes. 52. It's very close. It's very close. Okay. Looks like it's going to be very close. I'm just going through these comments. Yeah, it's very close. Okay. The first 100 votes, that's 52% saying yes and 42% saying no. 48% saying no. 51% saying yes. Okay. Even though mathematically it doesn't even make sense, but I don't know how YouTube run this thing. All right, cool. Fair enough. Juju on Arsenal. What about top 4? Yeehaw, Cowgirls. This guy every single day. Every single day without fail. Most consistent super chat I've ever seen in my life. This guy. Big up for the support. Damn. So it's very 50-50. People we're not even sure if we wanted Pulisic to come off. Okay, cool. Second question. Who did we want to come on? This is my last question. And I'll talk about it and then we're going to wrap up because we'll get to studio. But I feel like once we've addressed this, we'll be at peace. I just want to know what the alternative was and what people wanted and what people was, because then I can discuss the approach and then I'll understand the thought process. We have Madueke, we have Mudryk. Who else was on that bench? We have Ruben Loftus-Cheek. You know what? You're not gonna bring on Ruben, are you? Or are you? Mudryk. A lot of people wanted Mudryk to come on. Mudryk. I think it was actually. Do you know what? I can dig into the archives. There was Ziyech was not on the bench. I don't think. Sterling's out. I think I actually did this poll at halftime anyway. And I think people, it was definitely between Madueke and Mudryk. I think people actually did say they wanted Mudryk to come on. I think it was actually unanimous. Not unanimous, but it was It was something like 60-something percent. 68%, 68 or 67% of people wanted Mudryk to come on for the first sub. And that is, logically, I'm going to understand that straight away. If we don't have possession, we have a counter-attacking threat. If Everton step up and try to come at us to equalise, because at that point, I think we're 1-0 up, you want Mudryk to take advantage of said space in behind and to, to put them back in their place. You want them to be humbled. If you're going to step up, because if you're going to step up, there's two ways to do it. You either step up as a unit and you remain compact, therefore leaving a high line. Mudryk takes advantage of that, bang, counter-attack, goal, right? Or hopefully. He scored offside against Leicester, got an assist, a little bit of confidence maybe. People want to see him again. I get that. He actually showed something in that 4-3-3. So you have to stay compact. If you're coming up the pitch, then you are going to leave that space. Mudryk will take advantage. That's the first logic. Second logic is if you step up the pitch and you're not compact because Mudryk is on that pitch and you don't want to leave a high line, but you still come up that pitch anyway because you will need to score. You're not going to sit in a low block because you need to get a goal. You need to equalize. You're in a relegation fight. Then there's going to be loads of gaps in the midfield. There's going to be loads of gaps in the center of the center of the pitch, and there's going to be spaces for us to maneuver the ball because you're not compact. You're wide open. You're trying to do too much. You're trying to come at us, but you're also scared of Mudryk on the break. So that's another thing that he gives us. And also, the third and final point is just that Felix and Pulisic, and I'm going to actually slightly maybe lean towards Felix, even though he got the goal. Felix was not at his best. He wasn't great. Even though he got his goal, I'm a big Felix fan, so I feel like I can get away with this. I don't feel like Felix was great. I really don't. Even though he got his goal and it was great, I was so happy that he got his goal, hit the post and went in. I don't think he was that great. I think in the first 10, 15 minutes, I think Pulisic was actually better. Then he started to fade. But to be fair, he started to fade at the same time. Our whole team started to fade and we had a good start to the game, first 15, 20. And same as West Ham, same as Tottenham. We start games with the right intentions. We start games well. And then the longer the game goes without a goal, we start to fade. The other team gets back into the game. Everton start to get back into the game. 0-0 at halftime. We don't really deserve to be ahead. We didn't create too much big chances. And Everton got a foothold back in the game. 0-0. That's how I see that. But I don't feel like Felix was great because I feel like there was a lot of moments where it needed to be pinpoint and he didn't get the pass or the decision right, whether it was playing in Reese or it was on that counter-attack where he could have got a little bit more loft on the ball and he didn't get it and the attack broke down. I think you'll remember the counter-attack I'm talking about. It's probably only a counter-attack that we actually had. So it's an interesting one. You can't cancel pace, speed kills. So Mudryk was the favourite. Yeah, Mudryk 77%. Madueke 23%. And I get it because I'd say Mudryk is more, they're both direct, but Mudryk is more like, I'm going to run in behind, pace. Even when he's on the ball, receiving it, he's still looking to go down that line. He wants to dribble and then just go. Whereas Madueke, he's a little bit more cut inside and, he wants to maybe play a little 1-2 if he can, or, he's not just straight direct bang, in behind all the time. He does sometimes want to cut in and do other things as well. It's a little bit more of a mixed bag. You're going to say here, this comment here, Mudryk doesn't pass players, Madueke does. I definitely feel like 1v1 Madueke from what I've seen so far, I'd probably be more impressed. Yeah, I'd agree. I think I'm more impressed with what I've seen 1v1 with Madueke than what I've seen with Mudryk. I think I can definitely wholeheartedly say that's the case. And I think his dribbles completed would back that up from what I remember. His successful take-ons, his dribbles completed, that would back up that Madueke has been pretty good 1v1. I think his passing has been what people have been looking at and complaining about and saying, a little bit short. Yeah, am I spot on in that? I feel like that's accurate. So cool. I get the logic and I get the frustration. I get it. Especially on 62 minutes when there's half an hour to go. There's a lot of time left on that clock. Way too much time to kind of be defending the lead, even though it's worked previously. I'm not trying to take anything away from that, but it's not going to work every time. And today or yesterday is the day that you touched the fire and you got burnt, is the best way I can put this. Yeah. You played with fire a couple times. It worked. You put your hand through it. You maneuvered through it. Didn't hurt. You was like, oh, cool. And then you left your hand in there too long and your hand's on fire. Now you're burning. That's the way I see what happened yesterday. That's the way I see it. What you were doing, in my opinion, was not sustainable anyway. This is the time you got burnt. You need to learn from it. That's how I would wrap that all up in a bundle in this therapy session. I think half an hour to go, a team at home to Everton that has any aspirations of being something serious should not be going into ultra defensive mode at all. When you have options, if you didn't have the options, then cool, but you have options in counter-attacking threats and just attackers that can kind of play into what you're doing anyway, but they're going to give you something going the other way. Maybe you might not trust them to track runners as much, but it's a give or take situation. And we're at home. As much as you might not trust them with half an hour go to track runners as much, Everton, there's a lot of players in their team that they don't trust to do a lot of things. That's why they're in a relegation battle. So, you know, there's limitations or there's liabilities in some of our players, 100%, but there's definitely more liabilities and limitations in Everton's players. So you back yourself. And that's where you have to change the mindset of you're managing a top team and you've got not even top players. I ain't even going to call Mudryk and Madueke top players because I don't think you can even say that yet. They're high potential, promising players, right? But you've got that potential to unlock. You've got to sometimes unlock it. You've got to give it because that's the kind of club that you're at. You're at a club that is thriving and aspiring to be something serious and is not currently. So you've got to back yourself a bit more and not go into this mindset of, oh, we're a mid-table team, which we are, and we're going to fight for our lives until the end of the game. So I get where you guys are coming from, and I think that's a good way to wrap that up. I think that point in the game shifted maybe the mentality of the players, because when Gallagher comes on, they know that this is now a defensive job, but not in the way I would like us to defend, with like I said earlier. And if the other two attackers are coming on, or one of them, at least it's a mentality of, oh, okay, third goal, let's go. We're gonna try and see this game out differently, in a more, top team, in a way a top team should. So interesting convo. I think if Gallagher comes on with 10 minutes to go, nobody's complaining. But I think that early people are not happy. And I get that. Where does this leave us to round up? This leaves us in 10th. 38 points, 2 points from safety. I like to banter and say this, but it's the 40-point mark. We are 4 points off Liverpool, and they've played a game less. 6th is all I'm looking at, guys. Okay, I'm just going to say that now. I'm not looking any higher than 6th. I'm literally on my last. I'm on my last tether. Looking at 6th is even starting to become a joke to me, but I'm going to keep looking at 6th because I really don't think anything less than Europa League qualification is a massive failure from the manager and everybody involved this season. I don't care where we are in, whatever you want to call it. I ain't even going to mention these words. Somebody serious gets you top 6 minimum from January onwards. I'm not looking at before that because cool, different team, squad, loads of changes. From January 31st onwards, anybody semi-serious, anybody semi-serious is getting you into the top 6. It's absolutely, there's no excuses for not getting into the top 6. With the points gap, with the inconsistency, with where we are, with how many games are left, with the quality we have. I'm not saying top 4 because it's just not going to happen. I've said it already. So there's no point. I don't even need to explain myself, right? Everybody understands me clearly. We are not getting it, right? Because you can see the fixtures left. So it's just, don't even bother talk about it. But top 6 Europa League qualification, which I actually now am starting to rate a lot higher than I did a couple of weeks ago. Before I was like, oh, if we don't get Champions League, who cares? But you know what? This manager, you can't turn your nose up at Europa League. We as a club, cool, we've won it twice. We've won Champions League twice. But you as a manager, you actually need Europa League. You actually need it next season. More than you can believe. You need Europa League. You need another shot at the Champions League outside of just top 4. You need a shot at a trophy. You need the games to work in. Because we could say that we're going to play once a week, right? But that comes with very, very high expectations. Don't even play with me. If we are playing once a week next season with no European football, you don't even want to know the demands on Graham Potter, especially after the summer that we're probably going to have with the money spent. It's probably going to rise to around about 800 million spent in totality, with Nkuku and Gusto coming in on top and the clear out. Lord have mercy, you'll have to be in the biggest title race of your life. And I'm not even afraid to even say that. You have to be a title contender, a serious one. You have to be Arsenal. You actually have to be Arsenal. You're not favorites, but you need to be up there like that. I don't even think I'm even mad to even say that. You have to be up there, right up there. You're not even in Europe. Brother, I don't even think I need to even explain. I don't even need to explain. I'm not even going to explain. You have to be up there. So you may need, a lot of people may say you need to be up there anyway, but you definitely need to be in Europe, in my opinion, because it will just give you something else to focus on as well. And for coefficient points, it's very important for England getting 5 spots in 24-25. So it's get opportunity to play Andrea Santos, opportunity to play Carney, opportunity to play Ian Matson if he stays, opportunity to play Levi Colwell's, opportunity to keep these guys around because you've got more games and you can actually tell them seriously that they can play football. If you don't have these games, it's very difficult to convince these guys that they're going to get game time if you don't have European competition and you're just playing once a week. So that's where I'm going to end it. Top 6 is still the target, even after what happened yesterday, even though I'm not going to lie, my confidence is shot massively on it. And I'm not even sure if it's even worth me even aiming for, but hey, I'm going to put it out there anyway. And yeah, let's see if the in-game management will improve after the international break. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy, but we're gonna keep doing the games and we're gonna keep, hopefully, stop the suffering. So yeah, no watch-alongs today, guys. I'll be back later on for my second stream of the day, which will be a FIFA career mode. We're going to wrap up the season. I'm going to bring the treble home. Premier League, FA Cup, and Champions League. That is the goal. Last episode of Make Chelsea Great Again, episode 28. We're going to be bringing home the treble, okay? There's a lot of pressure on us. We're in the second leg of the quarterfinals. We've got the FA Cup semi-final, and we're going to close that league as soon as possible. We're definitely winning the league as far as I'm concerned. I'm just trying to close it as soon as possible so I can sim the rest of the games. So I'll be back for that. I hope that's given you some sort of therapy, some sort of talk before the rest of your weekend ends, and I hope that's brought something to your day just to help you get through the rest of the day. I think we've talked it out now, so I hope that helped. If it didn't, then there are alternatives on YouTube. Until next time, big up your damn selves. In a bit, people. Peace.